I'm Loretta Munoz, and welcome to the third episode of our songwriter series, Inspiring Revolutions, presented by the ASCAP Foundation. Today, we're so excited to talk to Emily Bear, award-winning pianist, composer, singer-songwriter, and prodigy in jazz, classical, pop, and film scoring. Phew! Emily, Emily will be joined later in the program by singer-songwriter, pianist, pop artist, social media influencer, and collaborator, Abigail Barlow. Emily, it's so great to see you. It's been a minute. I so miss you.
I know. Usually me and Loretta see each other all the time, and I haven't seen her in so long, and all I want is a hug.
Hugs are coming. Hugs are coming. Hugs are coming. So how are you? It's so great to see you. I'm so excited about everything that you're doing. I'm always excited. It's been years now of excitement that never disappoints. So tell me how you're doing. How are you feeling? How is this time going for you? You've been amazingly prolific in the face of all of the things that have happened in 12 months.
I mean, it's crazy to think that it's already been a year. Because a year ago feels like ages, but also yesterday. I think I was like a lot of other creatives at the beginning of the pandemic, where for the first few months, like everything was so scary, everything was so unknown that like creative juices just weren't really flowing. And that took a couple months to get over. And then I realized that I had all this time to like just wake up and create music, which I never really had. As like funny as that sounds, like I was always traveling and performing and doing this and having to get ready for that and like doing all the other stuff that was suddenly just gone. And I realized like, oh my God, I can do all the stuff that I always wanted to do that I said I never had enough time to do. So when I sort of came to that realization and got used to the pandemic way of living, every day I woke up and I made music. I created something. I did this. Me and Abigail, who I've been writing with for almost 2 years, we really like dove into a project, and it was so nice to like be able to write for a big project while there was not a lot going on. And then things started picking up and started writing a lot more. And then my life changed 2 months ago with, the whole musical side of things. So
It's been so wild over this year. You've and prior to that, in scoring films, which is something that I know is a deep love of yours. You've been doing this since you were a child when we first met.
literally 5 years old.
Literally 5 years old. That was I remember it as if it was yesterday. And seeing the photos of through the years is just so wild. You were the youngest award winner of the ASCAP Foundation Morton Gould Young Composer Award at, I think, 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, which is wild. I remember you coming into the ASCAP office with your mom, with Andrea, and I was told, or in having a conversation with attorney Peter Thal.
Yeah, oh my God, he just came up in conversation for the first time in years, and it unlocked like a memory that I just, oh my God.
That's so great. Peter saying, are you going to be in the office? I'd love to bring a young artist to you. And I said, sure, come by anytime. So your mom comes in and you come in and I say hi to you and how are you? And I turn around to Andrea and say, how are you? It's so nice to meet you. And Peter's like, this is the artist. And it was just, I was like, okay, that's even more amazing. And taking you to the ASCAP had a boardroom across.
I remember this like very vividly. It's so funny.
I want to hear what your recollection of it was in taking you into that boardroom and picking you up and putting you on the bench of the grand piano.
I remember playing for everyone and then meeting you and Michael and Chia and everyone in the New York office. And then there was like a giant I think, American flag on the wall that was like
Mhm.
painted. And I remember when it was time to like create a name for like the composition side of my ASCAP thing, and I my middle name is Jordan. It was Martin Luther King Day. There was a US and A flag on the wall, and that all made it into my ASCAP entity name. But I remember meeting you all, and like when I see the pictures of that day, it's just like, I don't know. It's, you guys have become my family throughout the years, and I'm so grateful to be a part of such an incredible organization. Even like the second I moved to LA, I didn't know anyone. ASCAP like hosts all these amazing like songwriter events where you get to meet a bunch of different people. And I mean, some of my most special connections and opportunities have stemmed from ASCAP events or from you guys. And I don't know, it's just, you guys feel like you're a part of me and my story. So
Well, it's wonderful. It's been wonderful to have you in the family, and as family, I feel like you are family, the whole Bear family. So, how you had obviously been performing, and here you come into ASCAP. You receive this award. You perform again. How does that? What are your recollections of that? Did that have um, part of the roots or the foundations of how you then proceeded in your young life?
I mean,
How that directed and helped direct you with your, incredible family?
I feel like for me, especially when I was so young doing this, it was all just very fun. And everything was like, oh, this is so cool. And I'm just doing something that I love. And blah, 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 blah. And when I actually got that award, I think even as like a 6-year-old, it was like, whoa, like maybe I should do this. And I can't really remember a time without music, but as you know, creating music is like a very vulnerable thing. Like no matter how good you feel about it, it's still scary putting it out in the world. Um, and so I think for a lot of creatives, like getting even a little bit of that support and validation means the world.
That's wonderful. It is with artists, it is very vulnerable. Your music helps shape our world, helps drive our world, is our soundtrack. It represents, love and sorrow and joy and healing. So you're putting that all down. That is what you're doing and sharing with the world. So I would, it's sort of a universal artist feeling of vulnerability.
Right. And I
So
think that's a beautiful
I
thing.
am I'm super curious. So what is that on the piano? I keep trying to read it. Jar
Well,
of
it's actually a jar of awesome.
oh,
And I keep
excellent.
it on my piano. And when I moved to LA, it was around like when I fully moved to LA, it was around my birthday. And my dad made this for me. It's called the Jar of Awesome. And each note card has like a different thing that he thinks I'm awesome. Um, like, I mean, I've never cried from a gift before. And I was like reading these, and I was sitting there bawling. So I always keep it on the piano. It's like one of the most special things I have.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. And so touching. And the best gift ever. Thanks,
It's so
Dad.
truly. I'm gonna always be a believer of the gift never has to be expensive, just thoughtful and meaningful.
Right.
Um, and that truly it means the most. So
Amazing. I saw a clip recently in reviewing things, and also through the years, I saw a clip of one of your first performances on the Ellen DeGeneres show, where she points out you are a child, and you're like, yes. How did that? And you've been on the show how many times?
7 times now.
7 times. That's remarkable.
Um, I don't know. Again, growing up, I never looked at it like, oh my God, I'm a prodigy. Look at me go. It was more like it was something that I love to do. And I felt like it wasn't that different than another kid who was like on a travel soccer team and was really into that, or someone who's super into gymnastics. It's just like, I think and now looking back, I feel very, very fortunate and blessed to have found my passion very early in life.
Mhm.
And that's just when it hit. And I knew I've wanted to do this forever. It's like when I'm the happiest, all I want to do is create music. When I'm the most down and sad, all I want to do is create music. And I mean, if that ever changes, I'll let you know, but I don't think so.
You've been all over the world in your performances and collaborating with so many different types of musicians and artists. You've packed so much into your life already and experiences that is really quite incredible and special. I was fortunate enough to be at an amazing session that you had at Warner Brothers
Oh my
Studios,
God, yeah.
the scoring session there at the Eastman studio,
Yep.
right? And you were scoring a short film, and I was looking out into the room, the full orchestra, and there were so many musicians in the seats that were on that session that I've known over the years, that have, played with John Williams, that have played with many other composers. And you finished your first piece and they gave you a round of applause, which is something massively huge because they don't give those out very freely. And it's and many times coming into sessions, musicians are like, I'm doing my gig, they're best at their game, they do it, and then they have another session to do. For them to take that time to honor you and knowing how special it was overwhelming. I mean, I was teary-eyed. How did that feel, that power of having that orchestra to conduct them, to play your music and moving your hands?
Someone asked me a couple days ago, like, why do you love music? And I was thinking, and then I'm like, that moment when you're listening to an orchestra or you're hearing your song and like the music swells and you get that feeling? You know what I'm talking about? It's just not like you can't describe it. It's like that feeling. And I'm like, that is why I love that feeling. It's like unlike anything else. And I get that the most, to be honest, with an orchestra. And that was actually the first time I'd ever conducted, and I was terrified. But I was conducting, and there's really nothing like an orchestra. You have 80 incredibly talented musicians all working in tandem to create these incredible colors. And to like be at the helm of that and to hear my music being played by that, it's like, it's so magical. It's, I don't even know. I love it.
Well, it was whatever that feeling that you had that you just described, that amazing feeling, it was across the room. It was across the room. So, congratulations. What are you currently working on? Let's have a share. I know that like Bridgerton is like an amazing and explosive thing, but tell me before we get to that, which is so awesome, what how are things going in working on your scoring end, or their projects that are coming up? I know it's kind of odd to be asking you this because Bridgerton is so massive.
Well, it's funny because this fall, it was a really exciting time because I was creating so much music. I was going out for so many different things. I was getting really, really close every time to like getting the big gig. And it just never hit. It wasn't the right time, wasn't the right place. And I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason. So I'm like, ugh, and then I move on. But there were a couple things that hit, but I felt frustrated and stuck. And Abigail, who my partner, was sort of feeling the same way with her own pop music, because that's what she usually does. Is she's like she's an artist and has a whole artist project. And so we sort of pivoted to telling other people's stories. And that's when the Bridgerton thing kind of just blew up. She texted me and she's like, oh my God, have you seen Bridgerton? What if it was a musical? She sent me the song that she started, and I'm like, yes. And so literally from that second on, we just dove in before like it really was blowing up, and then it blew up.
So wait, before that, weren't you working with Abigail on a musical? I remember hearing songs in my driveway.
Yes. Basically, me and Abigail met because we both got introduced to this musical concept that we both sort of fell in love with individually. And the guy whose concept it was, he was like, you two should try working together. Like, I think you do great things. And we're like, okay. And you know, when you walk into a session, like, it could be great, it could be terrible, it could be a million things in between. And I remember walking out of that session with Abigail being like, oh, so like, that's what it feels like to have a really, really great session. We have very complementary skill sets. There's no power dynamic. Like, we check our egos at the door. And we're very yin yang. So like, what I do really, really well in, Abigail may not have as strong, and vice versa. And so I don't know, when we get together in a room, it's very like boom, 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 boom. And we started writing for this musical idea, and I was getting so excited. But as you know, musicals are a very long process, and it's just very baby steps at the moment. And I was playing Loretta all of these songs that we had written, and I was like, I love this girl, like, so excited. I feel like I found a partner for a really long time, and all of that. And so when this Bridgerton thing came up, it was truly just like a TikTok fun idea thing that is now like snowballed into this whole thing. And even like beside Bridgerton, because of that opportunity, there has been so many more doors open because of it. Like, we both feel like we're just sitting here. I mean, we can talk about this more when she's here, but we're like sitting here and we're feeling like we're living our dream, and we're not really sure how it's happening or why it's happening, but it's just like crazy. There's been so many like what is happening moments. We're now working with our idols and our mentors, and we're like, oh my God.
So wonderful. It's so wonderful having this happen in real time, in the moment, being aware of it, being thankful, all of that. That's incredible. So you said something that earlier, that a phrase that you and Abigail check your egos at the door. And that reminds me, the first time I heard that was Quincy Jones, I think, posted.
Really?
I think Quincy, I'm pretty sure at the We Are the World session, it was something, I might be paraphrasing, but basically it was check your egos at the door, with those masterful superstars that came in to sing the song We Are the World for that benefit. So circling back to your mentor, Quincy Jones.
I mean,
tell us a little bit about that amazing journey of our American songwriter, icon, artist, producer,
literally all of these.
musician extraordinaire.
I met Quincy when I was 8. He's become, a huge mentor and figure in my life since then. And he produced an album of mine. We've performed a lot together. But I mean, I just love him as a human. Like, when you meet him, he has all of his crazy stories, yes, but you can tell, like, at the core of it, his love and his passion for music is so apparent. And like, when we get in a room together, it's like ages fall away, everything falls away, and it's just two people who are obsessed with music. And it's been like a huge honor, to have him in my life and have him be such a big part of my life. Yeah, like, what can you say about Quincy Jones? He's the man.
It's the man. It's amazing to talk with you. It's amazing. It's been a wonderful privilege and a great love to know you since you were a child, and to continue on. And it's so wonderful that you're in the ASCAP family and part of the ASCAP Foundation family. It's all family. It's all family around Emily Bear.
I think that's just ASCAP as a whole. Like, I don't think I've met a person I don't like in the offices. Like, everyone is welcoming. Everyone is generous with their time. Everyone feels like they care about you and are invested in your journey. And it's been such an honor to be part of your guys' world and orbit, and love you. And I love that we're matching.
I know we are.
Have you ever known a bit of cold, being alone? Do you ever stand 'cause you think you can, but the crowd gives out? Not gonna hold my breath, not gonna fear what's next. But what's next? Just leave. Trust me. Only when it's done we can try to restart. It's better that we heal than be broken apart. Just leave. 'Cause we were holding on to nothing. We gotta pretend we were ever something and put it to rest. Put it to rest. Whoa. No. Day by day, if the pain's not going away. Now where will I go if I make it home? It's a miracle. Not gonna hold my breath, not gonna fear what's next. What's next? Just leave. Trust me. Only when it's done we can try to restart. It's better that we heal than be broken apart. Just leave. 'Cause we were holding on to nothing. We gotta pretend we were ever something and put it to rest. Put it to rest. You were just what I need, but it's time to let it go and put it to rest. You were just what I need, but it's time to let it go and put it to rest.
As many of you already know, Emily has joined up with the amazingly talented singer-songwriter, pop artist Abigail Barlow to create musical theater's newest songwriting duo, Barlow and Bear, that is now taking the world by storm. Welcome, Abigail. How are you? It's so wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
Wow, this is so great. I have to say, I am just in awe of your voice. I've been watching all of your TikToks and all the videos that have come up, and it's just absolutely splendid.
Thank you so much.
It's just
Thank you.
beautiful. You've been singing and performing since you were a teenager, and have so many followers. You've like really harnessed this at the right time with social media and the awareness of your music, and really have caught, hearts and souls of lots of eyes on you. Last time I saw, I think it was something for Heartbreak Hotel, your song that peaked at 2 on iTunes, had like 6.5 million streams. That's incredible.
Thank you so much.
That is really incredible. So tell me how that all happened and transpired, and then leading into catching the attention of Megan Trainor, who then helped and became a mentor and a collaborator. It's such a remarkable journey at such a young age, and it's really wonderful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been my bread and butter since I was a teenager. I love social media, and I've always loved to connect with others through social media with art. I started at 16 just live streaming, singing songs for people, writing songs live for an audience. And that connection between an audience and me through art is just so important to me. And it's always been part of the process. But then I found TikTok and saw the lucrative ability to grow an audience very organically. And it was just the place to be, honestly. And so I started posting original music on TikTok when I was a teenager, and just sort of growing a following for a few years. And that led me to move out to Los Angeles and do it professionally, which is a dream come true. And so I've been out here ever since. But, it's been sort of a journey, because as a songwriter, it takes a few years to develop that songwriter's toolbox, and and how to collaborate with others is a very important skill you have to learn. And so I think there was a lot of years of development for me, and just working on myself and working on my skills as a collaborator.
I think that's
Mm-hmm.
No, I feel that too. Especially with songwriting.
Right.
Because I remember when I first started songwriting, and I don't know, my vision of what I wanted to sound like is just so worlds away from what I believe I am as an artist now.
Right.
And it's just like, no one could tell me that. I had to get there on my own.
Exactly. And you grow with your music, I think, as you get older, as you have more life experience, your music shifts, and in the best way. I didn't really have any traumatic experiences. I was very blessed to grow up in an amazing family who was always supportive of me. And so when I had a boy break my heart, that kind of rocked my world a little bit. And I used music to cope and for therapy. And I think that was the biggest and most helpful thing that I did as a songwriter. And I got a little frustrated with, the process and how long it was taking, because it takes a long time, to get where you're going. And so I just continued to, try to improve on my songwriting. I posted everything I wrote to TikTok, and some of the songs caught fire and caught the attention of people like Megan Trainor and people who just saw the potential in what I was doing and wanted to help.
And I do have to say that she has like the craziest instincts, like truly has her taste, her instinct, obviously her voice, but I don't know.
I love you. And so it really just happened this past year, like really getting to where I wanted to be as an artist. And, to any young artists out there, it does take a while. Rome was not built in a day. And, it just takes a lot of patience. So I'm really grateful now that we have this platform we can use to, show other people who want to be songwriters. It didn't happen overnight. It was definitely a long process. And if you start now, it's never too late to start,
That's amazing. Tell me how you two came together. Emily referred to it slightly a bit before, but we want to hear the full journey. This is so exciting. This is like the buildup. You were working on another project or collaborating, and how did that happen? And how did that collaboration roll out soulfully?
Mm-hmm. Well, we first met through this guy who had this musical idea. Individually, we both kind of fell in love with the idea. The first time we met, we just connected really well because not even on the musical side of it, but just as friends, because she moved here when she was 18. I moved here when I was like 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
We both we're like, oh my God. Oh my
Someone
God.
like me, we both
we get each other.
Right. We related to the struggle of being young in this industry and really just
and
trying
kind
to
of alone in a
Mm-hmm.
way. I mean, we both have incredible families behind us, but we are out here alone. And it's like, they're not lying when they say the music industry is tough. Like, it's tough and people are cutthroat. So when we met each other, we're like, oh my God, you get it. And then I think when we started writing, we both sort of just fell in love musically.
Mm-hmm. It just felt very natural and organic, and that friendship connection really allowed both of us to have freedom in the room. You know, we both check our egos at the door. We make sure that we're always respectful of each other's instincts and opinions, and we value them, you know, because at the end of the day, we want to come up with best project or the best product possible.
And I've never really been quite in a situation like this where I feel so comfortable with another writer, but at the same time, like I trust their opinion, I respect their opinion, but they also do the same for me. So it's just like a really nice balance. And our skill sets, like I said before, are so complementary. Like I have all my classical and jazz with like my pop stuff, and then she has like truly the most insane instincts, and her lyrical sense is just whatever. You get it. It just, it works.
I have to say that how you collaborate and how, as you just described it, in getting each other, in just, you know, you have that same rhythm and all, really comes across so boldly, and it makes people, and I've been watching and looking at different comments and stuff. It really does make people like lean in and go, okay, like what else is it? I've been watching this for 30 minutes. I have a life I have to do. You know, I have responsibilities, but it's like, you know, so it's really wonderful. There's, you know, how that I'm glad you found each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does, you know, continue to add to the foundation of the people that you are already and stuff. And so there's this new partnership that's just really quite splendid. So
yeah.
I enjoy writing music with her more than anything in the world. I think it's my favorite way to make music.
It shows.
We both love writing alone on our individual things, but we also, I mean, at least for me, I feel like music can be a very lonesome process and isolating in a way. And the fact that we can do it together and be there for each other when we're having doubts and when we're hitting blocks, and it's just like you have another person in the room that you trust and you love to bounce ideas off of. It's like
incredibly valuable.
So
okay, so tell me, Bridgerton.
Yes.
We were all mesmerized in December. We were
right?
How could you not?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward. Oh, it's on today. I'm watching. It's just, oh, I'm watching.
Yes. It was addictive. It was a pleasure show. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. At a time when we all, you know, wanted that joy. So tell me, so you were captivated by it, Abigail, as I understand, and there's where the mastermind took over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yes, I binged the TV show in under 12 hours, as you do. And I actually had been kind of struggling with writing pop music for a bit. You know, I was frustrated. I think I felt like I was writing the same song over and over again, and I just needed a change of pace. I needed to sort of switch gears and reassess. And so I just kind of took some time for myself, watched a TV show I loved, and then immediately I got the idea, like, this story is so masterfully told. The dialogue is basically poetry. I had all of these lines from the show like swimming around in my head, like I Burn For You, Ocean Away. I was like, these are songs, I'm going to write them. So I sat down at my piano like I always do and just put up my camera on TikTok and I wrote the first song, Ocean Away. And I was not expecting a response like I got, because I honestly had been not getting as much engagement on TikTok as I normally do. I didn't think many people would see it. And it just started as sort of a fun writing challenge for myself to get myself out of my head, to put myself in someone else's shoes for a bit, you know?
Such an important thing to do. We were kind of hitting a wall a couple days ago on our own writing, and we were texting a mentor and we're like, help, what do you do? And he's like, get out of your head, write a parody of a song. Like just something to lessen the pressure and stop thinking so critically.
Right. Because as an artist, everyone's always critical of their own ideas. And, you know, it really helps to get out of my head. And then the whole world just sort of rallied around this idea. And I think it's because the show is so relatable, captivating. It brings you into a world that allows you to escape from ours, you know?
Yeah, I feel like what Bridgerton did is that when I watched it, I felt so immersed in the show and the world. Like, I wanted to be there. I wanted to be with them. I wanted to wear corsets.
Right.
I wanted to be in the 19th century. But like, and I haven't felt that in a really long time. Like, I thought that was a really special thing that they somehow captured.
So you took that, you put up the song. There was an explosive reaction to it, and voila, together you're writing this with amazing response, as I said earlier, from the world, from the creators, from the actors, from all platforms of media. It really is spectacular to see and to watch it, and so exciting. And as an observer and invested in songwriters, in my deep love of songwriters and artists and creators and all the things that the ASCAP Foundation supports, it is incredible to watch from my bird's eye point of view. How about in your shoes? How do you continue? How did you start that?
It's been kind of surreal because there's been a lot of like, oh my God moments. And we've seen, I mean, not only the world, but like, especially the Broadway community sort of like be very, very supportive and welcoming, which is an incredible feeling. And like idols and Abigail and I's like sing our songs, and people choreographing entire dance numbers and designing the set and designing playbills. And we're like, this is incredible.
What is happening?
The fact that people, I mean, we're creative at heart, so we get inspired by something to create something. I love Bridgerton the musical, and now people are getting inspired to create something from something that we create. It's like, wow,
it's madness.
But it's insane.
Yeah, it's been the best experience, and I think it's only been positive, which is it's a very rare experience in the social media world. You always have, you know, some kind of negativity from somewhere, but I feel like this project in particular really allowed people to escape. You know, they wanted to be a part of this, and the TikTok community just sort of rallied around this idea of escapism and adding, you know, a layer of storytelling to a story that already captured millions of people, and exploring these characters in a deeper way because they love them. And I think that sort of project just attracts people from all walks of life, you know, people we really admire, people who have never seen musical theater before, because at the end of the day, it's just about telling a really good story.
And I think because all of us are in the industry and we are around the creation of songs, musicals, whatever, all the time, we become very, very used to it, and it loses its like special glow sometimes. And I think, at least for me, I do this every day, so I kind of forget that most people don't know what writing a song is. Most people don't know like what goes into the process. Like, they see pictures of their favorite stars in studios, but they don't see what's happening. They don't know how it's being made. And like, I think we started live streaming our sessions, and we're kind of overwhelmed with the response to it, because we've had like thousands of people watching our live streams of just literally like us figuring out a song and tuning vocals for 45 minutes. And I think that's because so many people are curious about how it's made, how it's how we do this, and what happens when you do that. And like, we forget that most people don't see that.
Right.
How many works, how many songs have you composed for Bridgerton, the musical?
15 songs, yes.
Ones, wow.
All around, like together, we've written written a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because also this past year it's been kind of like everything happens for a reason. We've had such great experience writing for all these different pitches and animation and things where we have to write in all different styles. So like we've had practice writing for big band and for folk and for this and for that. And so like I think without this past year of like frustrations and no's, we wouldn't be where we are today, writing wise and partnership wise. So
it's been such a blessing to have a partner that can open you up to new opportunities. If I hadn't met Emily, I would never be writing for or helping her write for TV and film. And it's been so fun to do that, like to have a prompt and to have to write in a certain style. It's a very, very good exercise as a songwriter.
Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, you can feel like you're being put in a box, but there's something kind of beautiful about that because you just have to be way more creative. And
find a way to be out of the box while still being in the box.
Right.
So we've had a lot of fun experiences, a lot of fun writing sessions.
Yes.
It's so wonderful that you again, say that you two have met, that this has worked, that it's a friendship, it's a creative collaboration that clearly feeds, and you, in sharing it, bring us all into it, and we get to vicariously live the joy.
Yes, it's our favorite thing to do, is to share that process with people. And we didn't realize people would be interested in watching us tune vocals for 2 hours, but people aren't exposed to that ever, so it's very, very interesting to our audience and to see how the bread is made.
And now because of that, like I sort of touched on this earlier, but there's been so many opportunities now that have opened themselves up to us, like things we never would have dreamed we would be doing 3 months ago. And 99.9% of them we can't talk about, but which is really annoying, which it's funny because all we want to do is share it. But but us truly fangirling, so excited.
And us creating Bridgerton the musical is now just bigger than TikTok. It's bigger. It's started our careers, which is like something I will always be so grateful for. It's a very creative platform.
Yeah, it's like I said before, it's a joy to follow you together, to follow you separately. And so I'm wondering, do you think that we might be able to have a performance or two of?
Maybe, I don't know. All right, let's set it up.
We'd love to have that happen.
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
All right. So this song is from Bridgerton the musical, and it's from the perspective of Eloise Bridgerton, and it's a song about wishing she were a man.
Little underscore never hurt no one.
I guess I have to be a lady, smiling and waving, constantly obeying. I guess I need a prince to come and save me, even if I don't need saving. I guess I must sit on a throne I don't own, raising the babies we made all alone. I guess as a lady there's just some things I'll never know. But if I were a man, I'd go to Japan, maybe swim in the Seine, and learn to speak French. I'd have the whole world in the palm of my hand. I'd finally do what I could, but I can't if I were a man.
This next song is also from Bridgerton the musical, and it's kind of a moment when they're alone in an art gallery. And we kind of wrote it from that perspective of like, you're on a first date with someone, you're with your crush, someone you really like or love or whatever, and it's, you haven't really touched yet, and it's like that tiny little touch is like the most insane thing in the world. It's like you literally touch fingertips, you're like, oh my God.
Right.
And they have this moment where in this art gallery and their fingertips touch, and they haven't realized that they have feelings for each other, and they're kind of coming to terms with it. So this is elaborating on that moment. It's called Alone Together.
Alone together, alone together, in the gallery when she's just out of reach, alone together. And just for a moment, feels like I'll never be alone again. I'll never be alone again. Whenever she's close, wherever she goes, I wanna be near. The deal was proposed, but I didn't